And welcome on in, folks, to another regular season finale edition of the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show here on WEOL.com and on that Chronicle Telegram YouTube channel. We're also live on Facebook as well. This morning, I'm Rocco Nucci. He is Ron Janssen, his lovely Lorain County Community College sweatshirt. I like the color scheme on that, my friend. That's crisp, that's clean, that's sharp. It's nicely branded at the top. You got everything going on with the Lake Erie hat. Look at you, man. Just
I was on the shores of
morning.
Lake Erie this morning before I came here watching sunrise. It was a gorgeous day. And, of course, Lorain County Community College, near and dear to my heart.
Well, that's the most Ron Janssen Saturday morning I think I've ever heard of right there, right? Taking in the sunset right there on the shore. So look at you getting your Saturday morning underway. And we hope you guys are getting your Saturday morning started in the right way as well by joining us here. Regular season in the books, right? Week 10, Dunzo. After last night, you had some, thrilling victories for some that clinched playoff spots, and you had some heartbreaking losses that will see some teams sitting out come Halloween and into November as well. So excited to break it all down. You had, perhaps game of the night in the area. How about the Clearview Clippers after a 1-5 start heading into week 7? They rattle off 4 straight, including last night's thrilling come from behind win over Keystone on Stream 2. And they punched their ticket, Ron, to the OHSAA postseason. How about that?
It was a electric football game last night for a lot of reasons. One, Clearview was back home after going to Columbia and knocking off the undefeated, ranked 10th in the state Raiders in week 9, and then having a chance to take on a Keystone team that, honestly, I don't think many people, even though Clearview knocked off Columbia, I thought, the vibe that I got, not many people, including some of the fans that were sitting around us, thought that the Clearview Clippers could do it 2 weeks in a row. But they did. And I say sitting around us because it was a special night broadcasting-wise for us last night. Myself, Mike Rush, and Nick Hershey were actually in the stands with the fans calling that football game. Yeah, literally. And I loved it. I mean, if it would have been raining sideways, I probably wouldn't have loved it. But it was a cool, crisp night. And the energy of that Clearview home stand that we were sitting in was fantastic. It was picture perfect.
Well, I do got to shout out athletic director at Clearview, Jacob Morehouse, for making all of that work with some other media outlets as well. So just the fact that he was able to get us a spot, albeit in the bleachers, but we were there nice and cozy, right? Shout out to Nick Hershey as well, our on-site producer. I know he was a big part of all that setup for you guys. So definitely want to show.
Nick's the greatest.
He is, man. Yeah. He absolutely is.
It was senior night at Clearview High School last night. So, I mean, there were all sorts of moving parts. And it was, so we were just, fortunate to be able to broadcast that football game.
Well, and I know how you go, right? When you get to spots, especially in familiar territory, just about everybody and their grandmother in the house at some of these venues. So I'm sure you had the, walk of fame as you were making your way to the bleachers there, right? So.
Yeah, it was. It's always nice to see people.
Yeah,
I enjoy the relationships.
Good deal. All right, so let's dive into these scores from last night. Obviously, this morning we're going to talk to all of our victorious head coaches from last night. We'll hear from a number of different guys. Mike Elder and his Avon Eagles, they clinched the SWC crown for yet another season. So we'll talk to him. Mike Rice, his Columbia Raiders, they captured the Lorain County League outright. So congratulations to them. We'll hear from Coach Rice. Cody Kea will get things started this morning in about 5 minutes or so. Very much looking forward to talking to him about just this whole last couple of weeks of his season. Obviously, I'm sure you got a ton of questions that you'd love to throw his way this morning here, Ron. And we'll obviously look at the playoff picture as well, the best we can. Nothing set in stone. I don't think officially chessed yet. There's still some computer points that I think can be added and maybe change some things up. But we'll look at what the playoff matchups look like as of this moment here on Saturday morning. So we'll start things off here, Ron. I'll take this first page. You can take the second batch of scores here on our Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up scoreboard. Medina in the Greater Cleveland Conference knocks off Lorain 33-30. So Medina in Division I, Region 1. They'll be at Perrysburg for their first-round playoff matchup. Columbia captures the Lorain County League title with a 42-15 win over Firelands. That gets them a first-round bye in Division 6. It was a Black River Pirate winner over Oberlin, 46-6, the final score there. As Black River, I did not write their playoff matchup down, so I'm not sure if they...
Do you know, and I'm sure you do, that if there was a scenario last night, if Firelands would have beaten Columbia in that game, and then the way that the Clearview win over Keystone, there would have been a 5-way tie for the Lorain County 8 Conference Championship. You'd have had Columbia, Firelands, Keystone, Clearview, and Black River all with Firelands with two
With
losses.
2 losses. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that would have been interesting. I forget how the tiebreaker works in that league, or if there even is a tiebreaker. I know that's kind of one of those gray areas.
Don't have to worry about it now.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So we won't worry about it. Brookside not worrying about a Week 10 loss because they got a win over Wellington, 28-18. Scott O'Donnell will join us later on in the program. Again, Clearview knocks off Keystone 20-19. Clearview punches their ticket to the postseason. So congratulations to head coach Cody Kea, who will join us here shortly. And CVCA knocks off Elyria Catholic in North Coast League play, 49-14, the final score there.
Taking a look at other scores, Vermilion misses out, at least as we see it this morning in the state playoffs, with that loss to Bellevue, 16-6. The Avon Eagles continue to roll, 47-7 over Elyria. We'll have Mike Elder on the show with us this morning. Jack Armstrong's Middies with a huge win last night against Amherst. I mean, the Comets, real good football team this year. Midview started out hot, and then they really cooled off, but they finished strong, so they make the playoffs according to how we look at things this morning. We'll talk to Jack on the show this morning. And then the Berea Mid-Park Titans went into Avon Lake and beat the Avon Lake Shoremen in a shootout. The Titan won 34-33. And then speaking of shootouts and tight ones, North Ridgeville knocks off Olmsted Falls at Falls, and that's hard to do, to go into that atmosphere. It's one of the most exciting atmospheres in our area, those home games at Olmsted Falls, and they beat the Bulldogs 36-34. Brian Morgan's team is playing really good football right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So there are your scores from last night. And my silence there, Ron, is because I was looking to see what Black River did. When I looked at Division 6, Region 21, I noted Columbia. They got the first round bye. Looked at Cuyahoga Heights to shout out Tommy Evans, right? They're on the road at Smithville. Maybe I shouldn't do that because Black River, they just miss out as the 13 seed in Division 6, Region 21. So Kyle Clark, we'll talk to him this morning. I'm sure maybe he has some thoughts on it. I'll be curious if I could get like an elevator pitch from him on why, he thinks his team maybe should be eligible for the postseason, because they had a good year, right? I mean, a couple of tough losses that obviously comes back to bite them, but what they were able to do, obviously, with their roster size and some of the injuries that they had going through a quarterback change early on in the year. I'll be curious to talk to Kyle Clark at Black River to see what he thinks about all that shaking out this morning. But again, there are your scores from last night. Lots of head coaches to talk to this morning. Again, we'll take a look at the playoff picture that kind of sits unofficially still here on a Saturday morning, but we kind of got an idea of what might be taking place next Friday night on Halloween. How crazy is that, Ron? Week 1 of the postseason lines up on Halloween night. So you're going to have trick-or-treaters. You're going to have high school football playoffs. I mean, it's going to be a crazy night here in Northeast Ohio.
There will be great costumes, too.
There will.
Maybe we could get on-site producer and engineer Jared Kozar to dress up in a Halloween costume for the football game that he's on next Friday night.
Are we in his good graces right now, or do we kind of have to do some work? You're Mr. Baked Goods, right? Everywhere you go, somebody's got like a sheet of cookies for you.
I am sure that next Friday night, wherever it is that you two assign me to, that especially since it's Halloween, that maybe there will be some candy or cookies waiting for me.
There's always some treats wherever Ron Yance is headed on a high school football Friday, because why wouldn't there be?
Why wouldn't there be?
All right. Cody Kea, head coach of the Clearview Clippers, set to join us in a couple of short minutes. So while we await his arrival, we'll step aside, get some sponsorship thank yous in here, which, by the way, should tell you that this morning's program is brought to you by the kind folks over at Nick Abraham, Elyria Ford, Eco Tree Services, Stewart's TV and Appliance, Lorain County Community College, Cobos Insurance Center, your Ohio Mutual Insurance Group agent. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody in there. I'm missing my spots in the stack here, so we'll have to see what we can do. There we go. We will be right back here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Rakanushi, Ron Yance here with you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
Are you undecided about your future and overwhelmed by the options? Well, don't worry. You're not alone. Lorain County Community College has helped thousands of students just like you find their future career. From short-term training programs to transfer options all the way to bachelor degrees, our programs are designed to set you up for future success. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about Eco Tree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted Eco Tree. They did an incredible job. The folks at EcoTree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me. When your trees need attention or even require removal, contact EcoTree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find EcoTree Services online at ecotreeservices.com.
Back on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show, Rakanushi, Ron Jans here with you. Again, big thanks to our sponsors here this morning, everybody that's made this season possible here on this all-new WEOL.com and Chronicle Telegram YouTube channel setup. Really appreciate everybody's support with making it possible this season. Appreciate all the coaches who have joined us all year long here on the Wrap-Up Show. And once again, we'll bring him onto the stage. Cody Kea, head man of the Clearview Clippers. Coach, I got to imagine you got to be on cloud 9 right now this morning, right? I mean, if we would have told you after week 6, as you guys are 1-5 after the loss to Firelands, that you would rattle off 4 straight, you'd punch your ticket to the OHSAA postseason, albeit a road game, but you're in, right? You guys are in the postseason dance. You know, what would you have said if somebody told you after that week 6 loss, hey, yeah, in a couple of weeks, you guys are going to be in the big dance when it's all said and done?
Yeah, I mean, well, back then, and really every week, I was told, hey, we're worried about what's on our schedule in front of us this week. I mean, that's been our mentality all year, and we've continued to embrace it. And I'm just beyond proud of our group, and especially our seniors that chose to stick around and, you know, be a part of this, and just not a time of uncertainty and everything else. It's an incredible feeling. I couldn't be more proud of them.
Cody, last night, calling that football game, actually sitting in the stands, the home stands at Clearview High School is where our broadcast position was amongst, you know, the fans of the Clippers. It was really electric and exciting, especially in the fourth quarter. You guys are down 19-6. You have 2 sustained drives. The last one, I think it was 13 plays, and you score with 14 seconds left. You have had a pattern of controlling the football, long drives in your, 4-game win streak. And, guys like Cam Williams and guys like Tristan Antilli and Christian Stevenson, they'll get the print in the Saturday Morning Blitz and the Chronicle Telegram. But those 5 guys up front, and then, you throw in some other, blocking slot backs and stuff like that. Talk about why those people are so important to the success recently of this Clearview football team.
Well, yeah, they're so important because without them, I mean, we couldn't make this thing, operate the way it is right now. It all starts with them every play. And up front, they're doing a phenomenal job, of getting a push. We're moving people off the ball. There's a sense of confidence. We're getting exactly to where we need to just about every play. Early in the year, we had what I would call busted plays. I don't want to say frequently, but they definitely were popping up where you could tell we were just kind of confused where we should be, who we should be blocking at moments. And over the course of the last several weeks, you could just see the improvement. Each week, we're more comfortable. We're learning. And honestly, we're learning how to win, too, together as a team. And it's cool to see the development and growth of all the kids because really, like I said, it starts up front, but across the board, the growth has just been incredible this year.
Cody, put us in your own headset last night in that final drive. You're on the sideline. You've got to go 80-plus yards. You're down a touchdown. You're down a touchdown plus an extra point. I mean, to not sell Mikhail Domgard short at all, he's your place kicker. He came in and took the 19-19 game and made it 20-19. That gave you the opportunity to ultimately be the victor. But let's go back to the sideline. Let's go into that final drive and in your headset. And what's the atmosphere like? What's the vibe like? How are you guys going through that final drive? And just to let anybody know who wasn't there or didn't read it this morning in the paper, is Clearview went 13 plays, 83 yards, and scored a touchdown with 14 seconds left, kicked the extra point to win the football game and to put themselves in the state playoffs. So let's go on the headset of Cody Kea for a moment. Cody, take us through that final drive.
Yeah, well, I like to believe the headset was pretty similar to Cam Williams there. It was composed. We were calm. We knew what we wanted to do, and we had a plan, and we executed. And yeah, we had a little. We got some help and different things too, but we executed, and we were calm. We were poised the whole time, and that's really what it comes down to. And that's the whole team, the whole staff. I couldn't be more, like I said, proud of this group. Just the composure piece of it.
Well, you took Cam Williams, who arguably, if you talk to other coaches in your league, is your best player. I won't make you say that because you got a lot of guys on your team and they're all important to you. But arguably, according to coaches in your league, Cam Williams is your best player. And he hasn't only played football. This is his just second season of playing football. And he didn't take his first snap at quarterback until week 4 of the regular season. his development is off the charts, isn't it? I mean, he's an exciting football player.
Yeah, and he's played football for years, but I mean, as far as being in the Clearview program, we've had him for 2, and yeah, he had never taken a snap before until this year. It's just his IQ, his work ethic, his drive, and again, his composure is a huge piece of it too. You look at Cam on the field, you never could tell any emotions he's showing, nothing, none of that. It's just consistent, and I think our kids rally around that too. There's a sense of calmness and just, like I said, I think consistency goes a long way, and Cam's about as consistent as you get.
Coach, one thing you said earlier on in the show is that you thought you guys had done a good job of learning how to win. And we hear coaches talk about that a lot, and that learning how to win and kind of stacking those together. How vital was that for you guys down the stretch of this season, right? When you get win number 1 in this stretch to round things out, right? How important was it just to kind of get that first win here in the streak? And then how much of that was just kind of not just riding that momentum? Obviously, you guys go out and make plays happen each and every week. It's each week is its own. You've said that, but just that, again, learning how to win. How vital was that for you guys here down the stretch to again, ultimately punch your ticket to the big dance?
I mean, it's huge. And, the way our schedule ended too in our conference, we played what other people might consider, the top area teams around in our conference, or however you want to word it. But our kids were in positions to make plays, and they, we compare it a lot of times to a boxing match. You're going to throw punches, you're going to get punched. And, we were on the ropes even last night a little bit, I thought at times, and we found a way to fight out. We stayed on our feet. We didn't go down, and we kept on going. We kept punching, we kept swinging, and learning how to win is a huge deal, and these kids just continue to embrace adversity each week. And like I've said countless times, I can't be more proud of them.
Well, coaches, I looked at Joe Idle this morning. Looks like you guys will be on the road, right? At Sandusky Perkins, I believe, would be the matchup as it stands right now. So I don't know how much you've been able to really dive into that, if at all. I'm sure you've just been trying to enjoy the fact that you guys got to win and that you guys are into the postseason. But just that, I'm sure you guys got to be excited. If you got some stuff on the matchup you can share, by all means, go for it. But I got to imagine there's just a lot of excitement being in this postseason and just getting ready for another week of high school football, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, my staff and we've been looking last night and even this morning about the matchups. And yeah, it looks like it'll be Sandusky Perkins, but as far as like game prepping for them, we haven't even started that yet. Right now, we're actually in film with the kids from last night. So we're correcting what we did last night. And then, we'll move on to Perkins from there.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, Coach, huge congratulations to you guys on the win streak, and on getting into the postseason. It's been awesome getting to talk with you more and more each week here down the stretch of this regular season, and was super excited to see you guys punched your ticket to the playoffs last night. So congrats on all of that. Best of luck as you guys get ready to hit the road to go to Sandusky Perkins, and I'm sure we'll be catching up again with you here soon, Coach.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me, guys.
Thanks, Cody.
You got it. It's Cody.
What a fun game that was to call last night.
Boy, again, and you guys were right in the thick of Clipper Nation there on the sideline. Literally right in the weeds there. And that was, again, big credit to you guys for making that possible. Nick Hershey making that possible. Obviously, Clearview and Keystone put on a heck of a game. And I do want to say for Keystone, because I feel for them, they just miss out on the postseason in Division 5, Region 18. They finish as the 13. So a tough break there for Don Griswold and his Keystone Wildcats. I'm sure that'll be disappointing for them. Just, obviously with the expectations and the standards that he sets on that program over there. So I'm sure that'll, be addressed or whatever accordingly in the offseason. They'll get ready for next fall, and they'll be ready to go. But hats off to Don Griswold and his Keystone Wildcats. Another good season for them. Unfortunately, they do just miss out on the playoff picture. So with all that being said, let's step aside, take a quick timeout. When we return, I see him waiting in the queue there. It's Mike Rice, head coach of the Columbia Raiders, the Lorain County League champion Columbia Raiders, I should add. And he'll join us to talk about that and more next. Right after this timeout, Rakanushi, Ron Yance here with you on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We're live on WEOL.com and on that Chronicle Telegram YouTube channel.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Happy fall and happy football season. Professional football became a fall favorite when it was introduced in 1920. That's 19 years after Ohio Mutual Insurance Group began keeping the promises that secure dreams. Stop in and see us at the Cobos Insurance Center to learn more about Ohio Mutual. Cobos can help you select the right coverage for your needs. Find us online at cobosins.com. If you want to protect your auto, home, farm, or business, you want Ohio Mutual on your team.
Rocco Nucci, Ron Yance here with you on a Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show as we round out the regular season and get you ready for postseason football. And one team that is very much into the postseason after being crowned conference champions last night in the Lorain County League, if I could talk, it's Mike Rice. Head honcho of the Columbia Raiders joins us after, again, clinching the Lorain County League title once again. Coach, first and foremost, thank you as always for taking the time to join us. And I'm looking at the Chronicle Telegram in front of me, and I think Will Cunningham, a sports writer here at the CT, kind of laid the picture for you guys, maybe not perfectly, but, I'll say perfectly here. Last week, disappointment, obviously. Clearview gets the win over you guys. Undefeated season comes to an end, conference title kind of thrown into jeopardy all of a sudden. And you fast forward 7 days later, and it's just a total 180 from that, right? You guys get a dominant win against Firelands. You capture the league title outright, and that's just kind of life in a nutshell, and high school football in a nutshell right there, right? Just so week to week, the emotions up and down, but you end the season on a strong note. You get the conference championship. You get the first-round bye heading into the postseason. So I'm sure you got to be a happy man this morning, Coach.
Yeah, well, first, thanks again for having me on, and it's good to see you guys. And there's a lot there, but it's been a roller coaster emotionally the last couple of weeks. 2 weeks ago we're playing a tough Keystone team, and we get a tough win, and then last week, we have a little letdown, and we got a bad taste in our mouth all week, and last night couldn't get there fast enough and get back to it. And our kids, I thought, handled it as well as you can. As well as you can handle a loss in an emotional loss like that. I'm so proud of the way they've overcome adversity. And I know every football team overcomes adversity throughout a season. But for our kids to do that and to win a conference title, it's exciting, and I'm proud of them.
Well, and something you just said there, Coach, you guys couldn't wait to get out there last night. And I think that shows, again, as I read the recap here, you guys get a quick defensive stop and then a 98-yard scoring drive to take a 7-0 lead, kind of game on from that point. Did that pretty much kind of set the tone for you guys? Quick defensive stop, you march it right down their throats to the end zone, and it's kind of on from there. Yeah,
that was big. Just to see our kids respond in a moment where you're backed up. It kind of threw out the opening script of what we wanted to do, because we had to get out of the shadows of our own end zone. But to go down and do that and execute that, led by Xavier Hendon and that offensive line, kind of gave us momentum, and then we were able to really maintain that throughout the night.
Mike, two things. First, as a guy who appreciates the visual presentation of things, did you put up the green lights on your ceiling in your background specific for this TV spot this morning, or
he's always got that?
This is my classroom. This is what I always have.
Yeah, so it
always
looks great.
Green lights.
It looks like it's
that's good stuff,
lit by professionals. So it's very good stuff. Secondly,
anything to
Mike,
keep the kids focused.
That's right. I don't know that a lot of people outside your program know that you lost two electric offensive players, one before the season even started. And, I think you lost your starting quarterback and your lead tailback to injuries. Tell us, who those young men are and how the team responded and, won a LC8 conference championship. I mean, not many people, I think, could say coming into week one of a regular season, we're going to be without our top two, offensive players, and we're still going to win the conference championship. So take us through that whole storyline, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, Jimmy Stoffe, senior that an all state. He was an all state running back last year, and he unfortunately tears his ACL in late July, right before we were about to get started, and you just feel for the kid. He was excited about coming back, and kind of answering the bell and getting back in there for his senior season, and to have that kind of ripped away from him, it's tough, and um, even last night it was tough to just look at him and see the bittersweetness of the night for him. He was obviously very happy for all of his buddies and for us, but to see him not be able to be a part of that, I know that was hard on him. And then Logan Mangy in week 4, I think it was, went down, broken collarbone, and that kid was he had worked so hard to get in there and be the guy, and he's a 3-sport athlete that puts a lot of time in, and so yeah, that was tough. It was tough on him. I know it's tough on him still, to not be a part of it, because these guys care so much about each other and about the process and competing, and it's tough to lose guys like that. But I also think, they both of them have been great in bringing the next guy along to help us out, and those guys have prepared themselves to be ready for those moments. And I think that's a testament to the kids and and all the hard work that they put in, like Wesley Sanders and and guys like Andrew Sorensen have stepped up for Jimmy. You never replace a Jimmy, but Ambrose Beach and even Jose Rivera, really having to switch positions early on. It's thrown a little loop in his stats. His stats aren't what they were last year, but he never complains about it. He doesn't care that his touches maybe aren't what they were, but because he's in a new role because of that injury, and those are the things that they're bigger than football, and you're proud of the kid for doing that.
Yeah, that's the culture you guys have over there, right? We know all about that here on WEOL. You obviously know all about that, being over there, for as long as you have been now, and that's your guys' culture over there. I've seen you guys in person a couple of times. You guys have never quit, obviously, this season, and you've used that as fuel en route to a league title. So let's talk about this playoff scenario now for you guys, right? That win gets you back into the bye week conversation. Not the bye week conversation. You'll be on the bye, right? This first round of the playoffs. So how do you, because I know coaches maybe go about this differently, how do you kind of go about the off week, so to speak, right? Because kids, they're so routine. You've talked about that. All of our coaches have talked about that. The next coach up this morning, Mike Elder over at Avon, same situation for him with the bye week. So how do you kind of go? How does the Mike Rice coach team go about the first round bye?
Well, it's new territory. I'll tell you, we're still hashing it out because it's uncharted territory. We want to make sure we're doing it right. We want to make sure that we're not losing the focus that we need, and the routines that we have, and so I think we'll. I did give them this morning off, so that's a little bit different. But next week we'll approach it. I think we'll focus on ourselves more than anything, mainly because that's all we really can do, and we'll take the week to really iron out maybe some of the details that we feel we need to improve on, and then as we find out who we're playing, then get into regular game prep week. But we're looking forward to the rest and to heal up and to go into that week. I guess it would be week 12 game ready to go.
Yeah, wow, yeah, hard. Yeah, that's it's just weird, right? Just you're waiting on who you might play. It could be anybody, or not anybody.
Yeah.
It's one of two, right? But yeah, no, it's certainly interesting new territory for you guys, like you said. So we're excited to see how it plays out for you guys and see who you guys end up drawing there in week 12, like you said. So, Coach, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the league title. I know that means a lot to you, your staff, just that whole community and school over there, right? It's a big deal in Columbia Station for Columbia Raiders football. So. Congratulations on all the success this season, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys down the line here in the postseason.
Hey, thank you, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate those words. It is a big deal, and it's hard to do, and I'm so proud of our kids and our staff, and thank you guys for all you've done throughout the year, and let's have a fun November.
Let's do it, Coach. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Good to see you, Mike.
It's Mike Rice, head coach of the Columbia Raiders, kind enough to share some time with us here on the wrap-up show. What a season, right? I mean, especially with the way they play offense, to have your starting tailback down before the season even gets underway. You lose your starting quarterback for over half the year. You're still conference champs, man.
And Mike runs a triple option. I mean, he was a defensive guy, and he looked at when he took over for Jason Ward after Jason retired. He said, one of the toughest things for me as a defensive guy is to face teams who run that. He said, I'm going to run that, and so you lose your starting quarterback and your top tailback who run a very intricate offense, who, it's all about rhythm and decision making, and and they just didn't miss a beat. It really is one of the best stories, I think, in the county this year.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. Don't disagree with that at all. All right, well, we're going to make a little mic-to-mic connection here. Mike Rice just joined us. Mike Elder, head coach of the Avon Eagles. Tell you what, Coach, give us 30 seconds for a quick sponsorship. Thank you. We'll bring you right back in and talk about another SWC title for those Avon Eagles right after this timeout. It is Rocco Nucci and Ron Jans with you on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about EcoTree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted EcoTree. They did an incredible job. The folks at EcoTree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me. When your trees need attention or even require removal, contact EcoTree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find EcoTree Services online at ecotreeservices.com.
Rocco Nucci, Ron Jans here with you at the Chronicle Telegram on a Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Big thanks to those who have joined us thus far, and we will keep the line moving this morning. He's on the move, I'm assuming to JV duty or something, right? Head coach of the Avon Eagles, Mike Elder. He's in the car, he's on the move, and he's here now on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Coach, as always, we greatly appreciate the time here with us on a Saturday morning, and talk about last night, right? 47-7 winners over Elyria. I think the bigger storylines are you get your 10th straight SWC championship. Blake Elder goes over 2,000 yards passing for his Eagle career. Just talk to us about what last night means to you, that program, that staff, and just that entire Avon community.
Yeah, we talked about it this morning with our kids and said that, we divvy it up into 2 seasons. That's what we look at it as. And now we're starting our 2nd season, but we just put a bow on the 1st season by going undefeated in a really, really good conference. We talk about it all the time, how much we respect all the coaches and players that play in the SWC. It's a fight every single Friday, and it will never be taken for granted, not as long as I'm the head coach at Avon, to win that league. And we've won it 10 straight years, which is crazy. And we shared it too, but it was 8 outright. And last night was an outright one. And so it was something that was a cause to celebrate. We enjoyed that. We talked about it this morning and told the kids to enjoy it this weekend. And then we'll turn the page to the 2nd season and try to win 5 games. That's the goal.
Well, and Coach, something you've said, and you're adamant about this each and every week we talk to you, is that you don't take it for granted, right? You guys don't just kind of assume that things will happen one way or another, whatever. I mean, you guys do your due diligence each and every week, and that shows. I mean, like you said already, 10 straight conference titles, 34 straight SWC wins for you guys. You've outscored your opponents by about 300 points this season, as I read here in the Chronicle. 404 points you've scored. You've allowed 108. So I think it's clear just with the way you guys play. And it's not that, you guys don't run it up or look to embarrass anybody when you play on a Friday night, but you guys take care of business. And I think it's just that you guys don't take it for granted. And that shows with the way your kids perform each and every Friday night. I think that just says a lot about, kind of where you have that program.
Yeah, last night after our game, John Gunnell, a guy that coached at Mount Union, and he was with me on my staff at Avon for a short time, and he left and went to Shaker to get closer to where he lived, and then he's now the head coach at Beechwood, and Beechwood's 0-9, and they played a team last night 0-9, and he got his first win, and I was calling him on my way home from my Elyria game, and he was just so elated, and it just reminded me how hard it is to win and how you can't take it for granted. And you're right, we prepare at a high level. We didn't fall to the top of the hill. We had to work our tail off to get there. And when you say 10 straight, yes, on my coaching staff, we've won 10 straight. But these kids in our program, in 7th and 8th grade, we divvy up our teams and we put a premium on playing time, and we let some other teams create A and B teams, and they beat the snot out of us. My 2 7th grade teams this year went 1-7, 1-7, and 8th grade was 4-4 and 2-6. And we could stack the teams, play 15 kids, and win mythical middle school championships. But that's not what helps you win championships when it matters most. And so our program and our kids and our players have bought into it. And the best part of that is we're developing a lot of players, but they're hungry to win. This might be our 10th straight, but a lot of these kids, they hadn't won that many games, until they got to high school. And so it's exciting. And I got to remind myself that all the time, that this is a unique experience for these kids. And you mentioned Blake Elder. He had to wait his turn. So this is his first chance being the starting quarterback on an SWC championship. He's been on my sidelines for all of them, but not as a player. And so that's really special to him and his friends and the guys who just finally got to play for the first time this year.
Mike, you finished that answer directly where I was going with the next question. And I highlighted 3 words as you were talking: developing, hungry, and unique. And I was going to ask you about Blake. Blake, for anybody who doesn't know, is Mike's son. So it's going to be difficult for Coach Elder to talk about a player who happens to be his son. But, Blake did develop because he had to sit behind some pretty good quarterbacks there in Avon all the way through. And because of his weight time, he had to, get hungry. And, this is his year this year. And he is, I think, the leading passer in Lorain County with yards. He's over 2,000. He's got touchdowns that, that lead the county as well, passing. What's it been like for you, first as a dad, to watch Blake be patient, develop, stay hungry, and then secondly, as a coach?
Yeah, as a father, he and I probably need to do a better job of this. Don't talk about it too much. We will when it's all over, I think. But, we got a lot more football to play. But I couldn't be more proud of him. I think about his journey. And, he did play for us as a sophomore in his playoff stretch when Nolan Good was injured. And I thought he came in as a sophomore and did a remarkable job. He had to play week 10 or week 11 of a playoff game his sophomore year. So he played in 4 playoff games as a sophomore. So he has playoff experience, which is exciting. But last year, as we're winning a championship, he's the backup quarterback and going undefeated playing JV football. And what a lot of people don't realize is I've been coaching him since 3rd grade, and I think he's lost like 3 or 4 games as a starting quarterback, period. So he's a winner, and I'm really proud of him, and he's just a cool kid. He's nothing like his father. I'm very emotional, and he's very unemotional. It drives me crazy sometimes, but it's also a blessing. So, he's had a great year. He's had an all-Ohio year, in my opinion. He's thrown for over 2,100 yards. He's got 26 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. And, as a coach, that's something that I think is really amazing. And he would be the first one to credit all of his teammates. But it's definitely been a fun year.
Yeah, can't imagine why it wouldn't be. I mean, that's just got to be so cool to see. Like you've said, obviously as a dad, right, first and foremost, but then as his coach, right, the results proving themselves on the field, no question about that. So I want to ask you the same coach I asked our previous guest, Mike Rice, who is also on a first-round bye. You guys with the bye, as you punch your ticket to the postseason, obviously, loaded region, right? As you know very well, there's some very good football teams that'll stand in your way as you guys look to continue your march towards that state championship game. But talk to me about the mindset. And I think we've asked you this maybe in previous weeks, but just, what is the proper mindset in your eyes to kind of handle this, week off, and then you got to get right back after it with a new opponent for week 12?
Yeah, just like Coach Rice, it's uncharted territory. So I picked up the phone and I called Larry Karras, who's my go-to, and said, "Hey, Coach, how do you handle a bye? What do you think?" And I had some ideas, and it was great when it matched his. I thought, okay, well, he's a legendary coach, so maybe we're doing this the right way. But I don't know what the right or wrong way is. What you want to do is make sure you rest your players and you get healthy, but you also don't lose your edge in the routine that's established by playing every day. So we're giving our kids off Monday. I told them in the weight room today they're going to feel really awkward about that. I said, man, you're going to 310's going to hit, and you guys are going to look at each other like you're doing something wrong because you're not at practice, and probably waiting for a phone call from Coach Cicchetti to yell at him or something. But we're going to give them that day off, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to practice and get some reps for our next round opponent, and who we think that might be. But we're going to keep those practices short, probably an hour and a half. And then on Friday, we are doing our first annual, and it will become an annual thing if we have buys, kickball tournament. So we're going to do something fun after school with the kids. No practice that day. Let them go that night, to games if they want to do that. I know as a coach, I'll probably want to go see our next round opponent in person. And then we'll get a bonus practice on Saturday and get rolling into a game week. So I hope that works, but I talked it through with Coach Karras, and he thought that was a decent plan as well.
Well, that's a good stamp of approval, I think, right? As good as one that you'll get. So,
Mike, when's the last time you played kickball?
I'm not playing, by the way. I want to make that very clear that I'm not playing kickball.
I was gonna put the Vegas odds on you pulling a hamstring at like 3-1.
No, you better. I mean, they're not even 3-1 now. That would happen. So I'm gonna be the referee. I'm definitely refereeing that kickball game.
Well, are you going to have to yell at yourself if you make a bad call, or how's that going to go down, Coach?
Probably.
Question,
I'm sure.
Rocco.
I'm Rocco. I'm telling you, and the players will do that for me. Unfortunately, I think they'll definitely do that.
Fair enough. Well, Coach, congratulations on another fantastic season, another conference championship season for you guys, and best of luck as you get ready for your postseason March. I'm sure we'll be catching up again with you before the season comes to a close. But thank you for joining us all year long, Coach Elder, and best of luck to you guys as you get ready for the playoffs.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You have a good day.
You as
Thanks,
well.
Mike.
It's Mike Elder, head coach of the Avon Eagles, kind enough to share some time with us here this morning. Probably a good idea. He avoids the volleyball. That's or not the volleyball, the kickball. That's not a knock.
He should avoid volleyball too.
Well, that's I think even a higher risk for injury. And I like him just kind of poo-pooing your Vegas odds. They're basically confirming, no, that would happen, Ron. That's literally free money, and we know that.
Yeah, they wouldn't even place bets on it.
Yeah,
they wouldn't take bets on it.
And I can't blame them. So there we go, Coach Elder. Another SWC crown for him. We appreciate his time this morning and all season long. I see Coach Kyle Clark from the Black River Pirates awaiting us. So I'll tell you what, Coach, give us about a minute here. We'll get some sponsorship thank yous in, and when we return, we'll talk some Black River Pirate football with their head coach, Kyle Clark. He joins us next after this timeout. It's Rock Anushi, Ron Yance here with you live on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show.
Are you undecided about your future and overwhelmed by the options? Well, don't worry. You're not alone. Lorain County Community College has helped thousands of students just like you find their future career. From short-term training programs to transfer options all the way to bachelor degrees, our programs are designed to set you up for future success. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
Lorain County has a story every day. Make sure you don't miss it. From breaking news and high school sports to schools, business, and community events, the Chronicle has it all. Stay connected to your neighbors and your home team with coverage that matters most to you. Don't just hear about Lorain County, know Lorain County. Subscribe today at chroniclet.com/subscribe and get the news that keeps you in the know. The Chronicle Telegram, Lorain County's largest newspaper.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
Rockanushi, Ron Yance back here with you live on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Big thanks to our sponsors, Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, Lorain County Community College, Stewart's TV and Appliance, EcoTree Services, Cobos Insurance Center. And we appreciate their efforts all season long, making this show possible, making all of our broadcasts possible. So certainly appreciate them. Let's talk some Black River Pirate football with their head coach, Kyle Clark. Pirates winners over Oberlin last night. 46-6 was the final score there. And Coach, apologies if I'm kind of just not drawing back correctly, on previous conversations. I don't know, even with a win last night, that would have been enough, regardless of what happened in front of you, to get into the postseason. So I'm not sure where everything stood prior to last night. I know, obviously, as I look at joeidle.com this morning, they don't have you guys in as the 13 seed. So maybe some mixed emotions potentially this morning, right? You get a big 40-point win to round out the regular season. You guys finish 6-4, 5-2 in the conference, but with as loaded as your guys' region is, right, it ultimately still sees you guys missing out on the postseason. Just kind of walk us through that this morning, if you can, Coach, if you don't mind kind of sharing just kind of, where you're at with all of that this morning.
Yeah, we knew we needed outside help. It wasn't a control your own destiny scenario. And it made things a little bit different at the end, because usually if it's your last practice, if it's your last game, you do something a little bit different with the seniors and honor them a little bit differently. And we didn't know, because we needed some teams to help us, some teams to lose ahead of us, which that didn't happen last night. That's why we finished at 13. But I mean, we were close, real close, and we just didn't win that game against one of those teams that could have gave us enough points to get in. Yeah, I mean, our region is tough. It's tough every year, especially with Kirtland in it. I mean, they're perennial. They're a tough team. But I'm glad the way our kids approached everything. They never gave up, and they kept fighting until the end, and wanted to get that extra yard. And, hey, Coach, can we run this play? Can we do this, do that? So it was exciting, and they held their heads high through the end.
Kyle, your point that you just made right now, the reality of not only the moment last night, but all week long, not knowing if you were preparing your team, especially your seniors, for their final week of the football season, and then last night had to be gut-wrenching for you. How do you plan to honor those seniors, not knowing that you were playing your last football game last night or having your last walkthrough in practice on Thursday?
Well, we were able to do our senior walk at our last home game against Wellington last week. So that was a big thing that we did. And then we just it probably wasn't as emotional at the end of the game as it normally would be if we knew it was the seniors' last game. But we'll get together this week. I'm going to open the locker room for them on Monday to get stuff. And then Tuesday will be our equipment turn in, and we'll have a team meeting. So we'll do something special for them then, and we'll hug it out and talk about all the games and plays and where we're moving forward in the future.
Coach, well, one thing I had for you, and I kind of half joked with Ron about this because I wanted to ask you, but I feel like you've been a common enough guest on here, and we're kind of good enough with this to where I almost want to get like an elevator pitch from you on why you think your team would be a good postseason team this year, because you look at what you did against 6-4, 5-2 in a tough Lorain County league. You guys go through a quarterback. I mean, you guys had so many different moving pieces, parts. You talked, the other week about how, scout team can be difficult at times, just trying to get guys in the right spot. And you put all that together still for a 6-4 season, again, 5-2 in conference. So I got to imagine there's still some belief within you, Coach, that if, in another world, you guys were a 10, 11, 12 seed in your region, whatever, that you could maybe ruffle some feathers, right? This first couple of weeks of the postseason. I guess what would it be like an elevator pitch from you on that?
I mean, I believe that 100%. I tallied it up actually yesterday, and the 4 losses that we had, those teams were combined. Their record was 30-6. So, I mean, we played some tough teams. Hillsdale, state runner-up. That's our week 1, and then Smithville, they're 5th in our region right now, and we lost to them 14-8 after having 7 holding penalties in that game. And we lost Austin Paymer, who was our strong safety flanker and played every special teams for us. And like I said last week, when we lose somebody that's a two-way starter for us, it completely changes our game plan because we don't have a backup that's like him. Actually, we don't even have a JV team. So our scout team is a couple of coaches and a bunch of freshmen and sophomores and a few backups. So it's been a great year, but I mean, we were right there. I mean, we lost 14-0 to Columbia, who's getting a first round bye, and we lost to Smithville 14-8, and they're sitting 5th in our region. And I feel like if we got another shot at them, we could make some noise.
Kyle, who are some players that you'd like to take this moment to highlight after this season is now officially ended for you? Who are some young men that that you'd like to publicly acknowledge? Say not only did they have a great year, they had a great season, a great career, and maybe some young men that will stay with you and be back next year on Friday nights.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Zane Bungard. He's senior receiver, first 1,000-yard receiver in Black River school history, which if you would have told me 7 years ago when I became the head coach I was going to have a 1,000-yard receiver, I would have laughed in your face. I'd be like, no, we're just running the ball, And here we are. We got a 1,000-yard receiver in Zane. I think he had 60-some receptions this year. With that being said, he also was our starting Sam outside linebacker. So a 6'3", 190 receiver, outside linebacker. He's blocked a few punts, has a bunch of sacks. He's just a phenomenal individual, on and off the field. And then us coaches, when we sit around, we always talk about that senior effect. We have those seniors that kind of didn't get much playing time the previous 3 years, and then they just flip a switch for the weight room. Gabe Negron, he's one of those examples. He didn't even get a meaningful varsity rep his junior year, and he's a guy that then he would go work out with us, and then he would go run a couple miles afterwards on his own, change his eating habits, everything, and he ended up being one of our best D linemen the whole season. And then when we lost Colton Moskell in the Columbia game, he stepped in and played guard for us the remainder of the year. So he was a two-way lineman for us at 150 pounds.
Wow.
And both our guards were 150 pounds. That's what we're dealt. And just to have the grit at 150 pounds to be a force on the D-line, play every snap at guard, just pretty impressive. And then there's a kid that didn't play any meaningful snaps up until his senior year, but he made that decision to hey, I'm going to improve my body, I'm going to improve my eating habits, I'm going to get bigger, faster, stronger. And that's what he did. And we're looking forward to more kids to make that jump like that. Then I can't not talk about Dominic Bell. Our freshman quarterback. He just broke Eric Grosser's record last night for the most passing yards in the season. Just what a phenomenal talent. What a smart kid, a lot of savvy. And I'm really excited what the next 3 years have in hold for him.
Well, and I think, Coach, just that, we can close with this. You talk about the future and Dom Bell, right? He just burst onto the scene this year in the Lorain County League. He's obviously going to be a force for you guys in years to come. You've talked about what you kind of got in the pipeline there, right? With the 7th and 8th graders moving on up, and they've had really successful seasons in their own right. And I know you got some other underclassmen, Hunter Varney, right? Former quarterback before Dom Bell took over. You guys have young pieces over there and pieces coming up that are really going to make you guys a problem in the Lorain County League each and every Friday night moving forward. And I'm sure, no one's going to be chomping at the bit more than you, I think, to get to, the winter lifting and the summer workouts and the camps, and then ultimately, right, to late August in 2026. You got to be really excited for what these next couple of seasons hold for you guys.
Yeah, we definitely are. But right now it's that nasty word of potential, which yes, we have a lot of potential, but it means nothing if they don't put in the work and do things together. So we got to keep that fresh in our mind, because whatever they did last year, isn't going to win them a game next year. So as long as we could get these kids to work and get a few more other buddies out, I think we could be a really good program moving forward.
There you go. Hit those hallways, right? We kind of half joke about that all the time, but there's some truth to it with that small town football mentality, man. I mean, you know that. So good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Coach, congratulations on a fantastic season. I know, again, ultimately some disappointment this morning with the way the points and everything worked out for you guys. But really, congratulations on a great season, despite just, so much adversity and injuries and things like that. We've really appreciated your time here on these Saturday mornings. And again, we're excited to see, what this Black River football program can do moving forward. Seems like you got the right mentality with some young guys coming up, and best of luck to you and your guys as you move forward here into the offseason.
Thank you. I appreciate what you do for our program and Lorain County football. It means a lot. And thank you very much.
Thanks, Kyle.
You got it, Coach. That's Kyle Clark, head coach of the Black River Pirates. And man, I just, that's got to be a whirlwind of emotions, right, Ron? I mean, you go 6-4, right? Decent record, 5-2 within conference. I think that's maybe more so impressive than the overall record. Obviously, their non-conference, as he laid out, and we know that was real tough. They didn't shy away from competition, and just the nature of that region, man. I mean, you look up, there's just so many good teams, like you said, right? With Kirtland, obviously, the powerhouse that they are, Columbia in there, Smithville, just so many good teams in that region. It's tough. I mean, it is tough to make the playoffs in that region, even with the winning record, even with, threatening for a conference title still, right? At 5-2, if things break differently last night, they're in that conversation for league championship. And that's just, again, a whirlwind of emotions, but seems like he's kind of in a good spot with it in the sense that, great senior class. They've helped kind of move this program forward, each year that they've been there. And there's some great kids coming up the pipeline. And I like what he said there, not getting too far ahead of himself. That's all potential, right? What you did in 7th and 8th grade, or maybe as a freshman to help win, it's not necessarily going to translate to the very next season. So you got to put in the work. And it seems like his guys are going to be ready to do just that.
I liked what he said about and it really struck me, the reality of coaching that final week, not knowing how to really handle those seniors. Because as a coach, you never want to speak into existence the possibility of failure. You never want to say, this could be our last week,
right.
Even if you're thinking it. And so that was a delicate balance for Coach Clark and his coaching staff this week for sure. And I don't know. That'd be a tough get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's the cross they have to bear, I guess, this week moving forward, just trying to figure out how to kind of properly end things. But like you say, it's going to open up the locker room. I'm sure they'll all hug it out. They'll have that whole together session before they break it down one final time for the season. But it's amazing, Ron, how quickly things move, right? We'll get into hoops.
Especially at a school like Black River, either hoops or wrestling.
Right.
They're
jumping right into it.
Jumping right into it.
Yep.
And, the star players on the football team or the star wrestlers or basketball players,
absolutely.
And then they're playing shortstop and pitching on the baseball team in the spring,
your
or
athletes
throwing
are your
the shot
athletes.
put. He didn't have a JV team this year. I didn't get a chance to ask him, but I'm wondering if that's ever happened at Black River, even as small as they are. That's a significant thing, because even if you miss 1 year of not having that level of competition at any of your building foundational blocks that lead up to your varsity, he didn't seem too concerned about it. He likes what he's got coming, but that would bother me.
Well, and it's kind of what we talk about with Mike Elder, right? Where he really, as he even said this morning, puts a premium on playing time at the middle school levels, right? It's not necessarily, can we win the 7th and 8th grade championship? That'd be great, sure. But ultimately we got to get these young guys.
What's funny about Mike's point with, the mythical middle school championships, and I tend to believe in that process. And then if you look at the Olmsted Falls girls basketball program, they're the complete opposite. They'll set their squads at that lower level. At least they used to. I don't know if it's changed in the last couple of years, but they'll lock in with a group of girls at a lower level and ride them through. So,
there's different thoughts,
different approaches.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it depends on what you have to work with as well, right? I mean, we know with Avon football, I'm not trying to say they're just spoiled rich over there necessarily, but there's a lot of kids that want to play football in Avon, so you kind of have the ability to just create
winning breeds everything.
For sure.
Use my example, Olmsted Falls, girls basketball. I mean, that certainly has,
Jordan Eaton's got it going over
yeah,
there.
the
Yeah,
winning
no question.
has bred everything over there. Same with Elders, same with, you look at any program.
Columbia now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they just
Amherst
replenish
in baseball.
for sure, for sure.
So.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting to see how different coaches kind of approach that youth level and youth mentality. So I'll tell you what, why don't we break for the top of the 10 o'clock hour? I did, to peel back the curtain, I'm not trying to pick on him because I certainly would never pick on him. Jason Trusnick, former NFL lineman, current head coach of the Strongsville Mustangs. I called his game along with Michael Keefe last night on WEOL.com Stream 3 as they knocked off Brunswick 24-7. So did text Coach Trusnick, who said he may be available at some point in the 10 o'clock region. So I did send him the link. We'll see if he's able to join us. If not, no worries at all. Obviously, they got postseason to prepare for and all of those good things. I don't think we've had him on the wrap-up show before, but did at the very least here before we break for the 10 o'clock hour, wanted to shout out the Strongsville Mustangs and head coach Jason Trusnick, their first 8-win season. And this was crazy to me. He told me and Michael Keefe this on the field before the game. I just hadn't realized this. Bad job out of me not doing the proper Strongsville research, Ron, but first 8-win season for the Strongsville football Mustangs in over a decade. 2008, the last time that Strongsville tallied 8 or more wins in a season. And that was just, and I'm not trying to knock the Strongsville program. You just think, big school like that,
huge
big
school,
numbers, right? Like you would think,
like school,
right? You'd get 8 wins, but it'd been over 2008, the last time they'd gotten 8 wins, but they get it here in 2025. Big shout out to head coach Jason Trusnick for that.
Well, to take you way back, I mean, I think, how old are you?
29.
Okay, so like way before you were born, in the late 80s and the 90s, when I was covering a lot of Cleveland area sports, Russ Jakes was the head football coach at Strongsville and led the Mustangs to, perennial every year in the state football playoffs. And that's when, only a couple of teams made the playoffs,
right?
Not like it is now, 12 or 16. So it has been a long time, but a long time ago, they were really good every year, in and out, led by their head football coach, Russ Jakes.
Well, and they're really good now. I'll tell you what, that defense was electric last night. Brunswick had negative 16, I believe, rushing yards in total last night. That was just crazy to me how on fire that Mustang defense was. And I think that's a component of having a former NFL defensive lineman as your head football coach. I think that'll certainly translate. So, all right, let's break for the 10 o'clock hour. When we return after the timeout, plenty of more guests to get here this morning. Brian Morgan of the North Ridgeville Rangers, just another thriller for them last night. What a season it's been for North Ridgeville. So excited to talk to Coach Morgan about that here in a couple of minutes. Scott O'Donnell of the Brookside Cardinals. They end their season on a high note with a win last night over Wellington. We'll talk to him at about 10:20. The Midview Middies punched their ticket to the postseason with a narrow overtime victory over Amherst. 14-7 ends up being the final score there. And then the last 15 minutes or so of the show, we'll take some time, kind of look at the playoff matchups. Not sure where we'll be exactly next week here on WEOL. We'll try to get you our normal 3 games, right? We'll have our YouTube game. We'll have our Stream 2 and Stream 3 games as well. That'll be some intensive talks, I'm sure, between myself, Jared Kozar here on Monday morning, maybe even later this weekend. Who knows? But yeah, lots to unpack here in the 10 o'clock hour. More coaches, playoff picture, all of that coming your way after this timeout. Rakanushi, Ron Yance here with you live at the Chronicle Telegram. It is the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We'll be right back.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Are you undecided about your future and overwhelmed by the options? Well, don't worry, you're not alone. Lorain County Community College has helped thousands of students just like you find their future career. From short-term training programs to transfer options all the way to bachelor degrees, our programs are designed to set you up for future success. Lorain County Community College, your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
Happy fall and happy football season. Professional football became a fall favorite when it was introduced in 1920. That's 19 years after Ohio Mutual Insurance Group began keeping the promises that secure dreams. Stop in and see us at the Cobos Insurance Center to learn more about Ohio Mutual. Cobos can help you select the right coverage for your needs. Find us online at cobosins.com. If you want to protect your auto, home, farm, or business, you want Ohio Mutual on your team.
Lorain County has a story every day. Make sure you don't miss it. From breaking news in high school sports to schools, business, and community events, the Chronicle has it all. Stay connected to your neighbors and your home team with coverage that matters most to you. Don't just hear about Lorain County, know Lorain County. Subscribe today at chroniclet.com/subscribe and get the news that keeps you in the know. The Chronicle Telegram, Lorain County's largest newspaper.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about Eco-Tree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted Eco-Tree. They did an incredible job. The folks at Eco-Tree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me. When your trees need attention or even require removal, contact Eco-Tree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find Eco-Tree Services online at ecotreeservices.com.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
Back on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show, Rakanushi, Haran Yans here with you. Big thanks to everybody who joined us in that 9 o'clock hour, and a big thanks to our sponsors, of course, Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, Lorain County Community College, Stewart's TV and Appliance, Eco-Tree Services, and Cobos Insurance Center. Again, Rakanushi, Ron Yans here with you. Week 10 in the books. Regular season is done with as the OHSAA state playoffs will get underway next week. Our teams, some of them with the first round bye, some of them do have week 1 of the playoffs action. So we'll dive into kind of those playoff matchups here at the end of the show as we continue to talk to some of the coaches from last night. Brian Morgan from North Ridgeville, another thriller for them, man. What a crazy heart palpitation filled season for the Rangers, as Coach Morgan has talked about just about every week we've had him on. He'll join us here at 10:10 to talk his win over Olmsted Falls here shortly. Scott O'Donnell of the Brookside Cardinals, they end their season with a win over Wellington last night. He'll join us at about 10:20. Jack Armstrong and the Midview Middies. It took overtime for them to get a win last night, but they do knock off Amherst 14-7. And for Midview, that does get them a date in the Division III Region 10 playoff picture with Rocky River, which could be one of our games on WEOL next week. We'll have to see what we're able to do on that front, but he'll be our final head coach at 10:30. And then last couple of minutes, Ron and I will look at the postseason picture. But first, Ron, let's recap those scores from last night as I try to find the graphic here. There we go. So in the Greater Cleveland Conference, Medina gets a win over Lorain. 33-30 was the final score there. So Medina, they're in. First round matchup for them on the road at Perrysburg. So a tough draw for head coach Larry Laird and his Bees, but that is their week 1 postseason matchup. Columbia, they get a bye and they get a Lorain County League title in their trophy case. They knock off Firelands last night en route to that LC8 title, 42-15, the final score there. Disappointment for Black River this morning. They didn't get the help they needed despite knocking off Oberlin 46-6. We heard Coach Kyle Clark talk about it earlier in that 9 o'clock hour, I should say. They miss out in their postseason picture. Division 6, Region 21. They finished 13th, so just 1 spot shy of punching their ticket. Brookside, as we said, ends their season with a win over Wellington, 28-18. The final score there. Clearview, man, I tell you what, they had a tremendous close to the season. They're riding a 4-game win streak into week 1 of the OHSAA state playoffs. They knock off Keystone last night, 20-19. They'll be on the road at Sandusky Perkins next Friday night for their first round matchup. And CVCA knocks off Elyria Catholic in the season finale for the Panthers, 49-14, the final score there.
Other scores last night, Vermilion just misses out on the playoffs. They lose to Bellevue 16-6. The Avon Eagles, as we just recapped with head coach Mike Elder, roll over Elyria. They've won 10 straight Southwestern conferences. They wrapped one up last night, 47-7. Jack Armstrong coming up soon, the Midview head coach. They knock off Amherst 14-7. That was overtime. And then Berea Mid Park in a shootout at Avon Lake. 67 points scored. Shoreman lose by a point, 34-33, and then the Rangers, Brian Morgan, is up next. Looking forward to talking to him. They go to Olmsted Falls and knock off the Bulldogs, which not many people are able to do, 36-34.
Yeah, North Ridgeville will get a first-round bye as well. They finish as the 4 seed in Division II, Region 6. Kind of crazy how this lines up. Highland the 1, Wadsworth the 2. They were both undefeated. Avon the 3, and then North Ridgeville the 4 in that loaded Division II, Region 6. So we'll talk to Coach Morgan here shortly about that. On the NBA front, the Cavs get win number 1 on the new season. They knock off the lowly Brooklyn Nets last night, 131-124. The final
You're already
score
calling
there.
the Nets lowly
well, they had
2
like
games?
5 guys make their season debut in their season opener, and I just don't think they're going to be a very good basketball team this year. I could be wrong. It's early. Anything can happen, right? It's the NBA, but they do lose to the Cavs, 131-124. Donovan Mitchell, Spida, 35 points for him. Cavs off tonight, home against the Bucks tomorrow night, 6 o'clock tip there. Ohio State football, they're on a bye this week, so if you want more football this week, you got to settle for the old Cleveland Brownies. They're in New England to take on the
But is that football?
Well, it depends. Last week, it looked more like an NFL product, right? We'll see with the Patriots, who I thought would be lowly. They're not. They're off to a great start this season up there in New England. So Browns and Patriots tomorrow at 1 o'clock, the kick there for all of your pro football needs. So we will keep things rolling here. I see him waiting there in the queue. We'll bring him right on to the stage here. Brian Morgan, head coach of the North Ridgeville Rangers, a winner, his guys last night over Olmsted Falls, 36-34. Coach, I mean, this just has to be one of the crazier years that you've been a part of. What basketball coach, football coach, if you've coached other things, I mean, that doesn't matter. I gotta, correct me if I'm wrong. This has to be one of the craziest seasons that you've ever been a part of. To put context for people who don't know, and you could probably answer this, you guys are down players left and right. You're down your star tailback now, and Zach Barnhart. You've been down receivers all season long. You had really an entirely new, just about offensive line. Only I think one guy from last year had varsity experience on the offensive front. You throw all that into the melting pot, and you come out the other side 9-1 with a first-round bye heading into the postseason picture. And oh, by the way, about half the games ending on the quite literal, final play, final possession, whatever you want to call it. What a year, Coach Morgan, for your North Ridgeville Rangers. Kind of walk us through what you're feeling here on a Saturday morning after all that.
Well, first off, I was also a head girls cross country coach, which was a crazy year too. But yeah, we talked about it last night. We've been talking about it all year long. Nobody thought we were going to be any good this year. You take a look at the preseason polls, you take a look at all the things as we went throughout the year, and we win and we don't move up anywhere. And you lose Zach Barnhart. We lost Beef Cassetto, our 4-year starter at defensive end against Amherst with a torn ACL. And, we just keep on winning games. It's a team effort. The guys are resilient. They got a lot of resolve. And, I think in 4 out of the last 5 wins, we were either tied or down in the fourth quarter. So guys just keep making plays, and it's been an exciting year. And I think I made the joke last time to you guys last Saturday that the ticket of a North Ridgeville game should definitely go up with what they see on a Friday night.
Brian, are you not showing the video of yourself on camera this morning because you haven't had a chance to comb your hair or shower, or why are we just getting your voice?
It's always just the voice.
I think I have nightmares from COVID and teaching on Zoom. So
that's fair. That is honestly fair point. Fair point, maybe.
So Brian, I want to give you an opportunity to speak on the edge of your team this year, and you kind of triggered me in your first answer when you talked about nobody predicted us to win. We win and we don't move up anywhere. The first part of that question is, are you using that, and have you used that? And I'm guessing the answer is yes. And how have you used it? And then just to share a little story on the side, 2 weeks ago, I did the Ridgeville game, and I was on the field, and I don't even know if, Brian, you were around when this happened. One of your assistant coaches came up to me and they go, "Hey, Jans, you work at the Chronicle, don't you?" And I said, "Well, kind of. I mean, I write freelance stories for them." They go, "Bring Columbia here right now. We'll play them on the field right now. How come we're not number 2 in the region?" And, I look at the Chronicle this week and it's Avon, Columbia, then North Ridgeville. So I'm sure your assistant coaches are still a little burned about that. But, that's just a side story. Have you used that, Brian, to fire your team up all year long? Has that nobody respects us attitude been a part of how you've approached things?
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely a motivator. Coach Rice in Columbia, it's a great program and he's doing a great job over there. So I don't want to take anything away from him. But yeah, I mean that's a great motivator for us to come out each week and just try to prove it. It was in the pregame speech last night. I told the guys, nobody has any respect for us. Everybody picked us to lose. I said the only way that you can continue to prove yourself is to win. I mean, it's all going to come down to winning. And, that's kind of been our thing all year, and we're going to take that into the playoffs as well.
Brian, when you lose Barnhart, and you lost him a couple of weeks ago, he's been to your program everything offensively. I mean, in the history of the program, besides one player, DeMario McCall, who obviously everybody knows about DeMario's success at Ridgeville and then Ohio State. So you lose Zach, and you guys turn to Cole Miller. And you say, you know what, Cole, we're going to give you a little bit more responsibility. He's a physical specimen. You and I have talked about maybe he plays tight end in college someday for somebody notable. What has the transition been like using Cole as more of a running back, quarterback, and how good has he really been?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it a lot that we have Superman playing quarterback for us, and he's we discussed it before. Like he's probably a tight end. He's got a great throwing motion. He's got great arm strength. So I don't want to take that away from him. But he's when you're 6'5" and 230 pounds, it's just a frame that is really tough to get down. And last night we had two stat lines that were a little different, but anywhere from 190 to 205 yards rushing. When he can do that, the passing game opens up. We had Dylan DeShazo last night who scored 2 touchdowns, one on a 55-yard run and the other one on a kickoff return. And, 2 guys on the field that can break one at any time really helps out our offense for sure.
Coach, is DeShazo, because I was at Brunswick last night, so I didn't see you guys last night. Is he still in the good old number 18 after he kind of went that direction with the number change earlier this year, or is he back to 14?
Oh no, he's stuck with 18 and it's working. So we're going to keep going.
Yeah, I didn't think that was changing anytime soon on that front. So let me ask you this, Coach, because we've asked our other coaches, right, with this first round bye, kind of uncharted territory for a lot of different people. What is kind of going to be your guys' approach for this week, right? Is you kind of wait between 2 opponents? Maybe you have a good idea of who might come out on the other side of that matchup. I didn't look to see who it was ahead of you guys on the docket there in the bracket. But what is kind of the North Ridgeville approach this week in dealing with the high school kids and keeping them in that routine, all that good stuff, right? All the cliches. That's what's kind of the approach for you guys this week.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have a couple days off. We're giving them Monday off. We'll come in and we'll have a practice that's a normal practice for us on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And then we told them that if they win and get a bye, they can have Halloween off to go trick-or-treating as well. And ooh, I think some of our guys are actually screaming it after the game that they get to go trick-or-treating now. So, and then, the goal is to try to, get some ideas on how to prepare for the next opponent and have a game plan ready for the guys on Saturday morning. It looks like Anthony Wayne obviously is the 5 seed, and if Toledo wins today, they'll be the 12 seed. So, okay. 2 teams that we've played in the playoffs before, so it's not anybody that we don't know. It's just trying to figure out their personnel for this year.
Good deal. Yeah, it's always just, this is a weird year on that front, right, Ron? I mean, just with that first round bye, I think coaches just kind of have to go about it however they see fit. And I think a lot of guys are going to kind of keep that. I mean, keep things routine, mix in an off day, like you said, your guys for Halloween. That's got to be thrilling for them. So awesome.
I just want to say to Coach Morgan before we let him go, I think he's never looked better than he does this morning.
Well, yeah.
Here he goes. This
Oh, there he is. There he is. All right.
There he is.
Cool as a cucumber, Coach Morgan. There he is in the shades. He's got it going. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Out here freezing my butt off watching our JV guys play, and got the shades on because it's a little sunny for some reason this morning.
It's sunny. It's chilly. You're bundled. You got the shades. It's all looking
He looks
good.
Hollywood, man. There you go.
He does. We'll get him in a premiere flick here soon. But Coach, greatly appreciate your time this morning. Have appreciated it all season long. And best of luck to you guys as you get practice underway this week and await your first round, it'd be your second round matchup, I guess, first week for you guys. But nonetheless, thank you all season long, and best of luck as you guys get ready for the postseason. Here's hoping we have at least one more chat with you here on a Saturday morning before it's all said and done this year.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, that's your coverage of Lorain County sports is always appreciated. We were talking last night about what a close knit group it is in Lorain County, and everybody knows the WEOL Saturday morning wrap-up show is one of the best things that you can listen to. So we appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you, Coach. We appreciate those kinds of words. And that's Brian Morgan, head coach of the North Ridgeville Rangers, kind enough to share some time with us here this morning. Look at that, just showering us with the compliments.
Yeah, he just gave you a quick little 15-second social media marketing post right there.
I think he did.
WEOL's Saturday morning wrap-up show.
Everybody knows.
Thing that you could just book and edit that right now.
That's funny. Yeah. Where's our producer? Oh, wait, that'd still be me, I guess. So great stuff there for Coach Morgan. We've appreciated his time all season long. I see Coach O'Donnell patiently
he looks like he's holding an ice
queue.
cream cone or something. What is that?
Coach O'Donnell?
I don't know. Right there.
I don't know. I think it's just
it's the window.
It's just the window.
Just the way it's framed. It looks like he's got ice cream already this morning.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, Coach O'Donnell.
Celebrating a big win.
Yeah, as he should. If he gives us 60 seconds, we'll bring him right back in after this timeout. We'll get some sponsorship thank yous. It is Rakanushi Ron Yans here with you live from the Chronicle Telegram on this morning's Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
Lorain County Community College is where you'll lock in your future success. LCCC will get you prepared, get you credentialed, and get you working. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
Happy fall and happy football season. Professional football became a fall favorite when it was introduced in 1920. That's 19 years after Ohio Mutual Insurance Group began keeping the promises that secure dreams. Stop in and see us at the Cobos Insurance Center to learn more about Ohio Mutual. Cobos can help you select the right coverage for your needs. Find us online at cobosins.com. If you want to protect your auto, home, farm, or business, you want Ohio Mutual on your team.
Welcome back into the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. Rakanushi Ron Yans with you here on a regular season finale edition of the Wrap-Up Show. We will have one more show for you guys next week, as we always do. We go 1 week into the postseason and then break until basketball season really gets underway here on the Wrap-Up Show. But really have appreciated our sponsors all year long, our coaches all year long, and you, of course, for listening and tuning in all year long here on the Wrap-Up Show. We'll keep the line moving and welcome them in. Scott O'Donnell, head coach of the Brookside Cardinals. They end their season on a high note last night with a road win at Wellington, 28-18, the final score there. So, Coach, first and foremost, congratulations on the win last night. Thank you, as always, for the time here this morning. And why don't we start with that, right? I mean, obviously you guys miss out on the playoff picture, but to end the season on the road with a win over a conference rival like that, I'm sure that gives you some good feelings here on a Saturday morning at the conclusion of this regular season.
Yeah, it was a great win. Great team win. All three phases, offense, defense, and special teams really did the job last night. And, it was going to come down to up front. And having that we have three seniors up front to play both ways for us, it was really rewarding for them. After you go 0-8 in your first 8 games, you know which way it could go a lot of times. And most times it probably does. And last 2 weeks, they really fought. Last week against Oberlin, I mean, it hits the crossbar and bounces back. And, yesterday against Rob, how he had those guys ready. And fortunately, we made a couple more plays than they did, and we got the W. And I was really proud of our team, and I'm really proud of our seniors especially.
Scott, I wanted to go where you just kind of walked into. You start 0-8, and And anybody who's ever either played a sport, coached a sport, or supported a young person playing that sport, it could go south real quick. You could lose your team as a coach. You could have back stabbing as players. There are all sorts of scenarios, and most of them are negative in that situation. How did you keep those guys together? And the statement that it makes for not only you as the leader of that program, but the seniors on that team who kept that team together and that locker room together, and to win the last two after dropping the first 8. I think that's a huge compliment to inside that locker room and with you and your staff and those players. How'd you keep that team together?
Yeah, I tell you, the leadership is key in today's society and today's world. Leadership is key. And I don't look at me. It's the guys, it's our players, and it's the captains, number one, and then our seniors. And they were able to do that and put a lot of stress on that in the offseason and coming into this year. And obviously the first 8 didn't go the way that you want it to go. So it's real easy to jump on that ship of the one going down and pointing fingers and doing that kind of thing, which I think most people in society tend to do,
Right.
and our guys kept fighting, and we're not, there's guys that were hurt, we had a ton of injuries and all that stuff, and they continued to fight, and it wasn't always pretty in certain games throughout that midseason, but paid off in the last 2, and proud of those guys in doing that.
Scott,
But the leadership goes to our captains and our seniors and really the whole team.
I saw you in week 1. It was a Thursday night. You're playing university school. Yeah. And it was nice for Scott and I because years ago when we were both a lot younger, Scott played for some great Lake Catholic Cougar football teams for Coach John Gibbons, won 2 state championships, and I happened to be, one of the guys covering those football teams. So it was a nice, remember when for Scott and I. But you play that game against a very good university school, and then how has your team evolved, changed since that week 1 game till you close out the season with 2 wins? What has happened on the evolution of the Brookside Cardinals over that 10-week period, Scott?
Well, I told you, we've grown as a team, obviously. A lot of downs. I want to say ups and downs, but like I said last night with the guys, there's been a lot of downs. And losing guys for either the season or different weeks, and different things that happen for this reason or that reason. But the team has really grown. And I can't say it enough. Like there was at times a little bit of finger point, but that didn't really happen because of the leaders. They didn't allow it to happen, and the captains didn't allow it to happen. And I would always talk to those guys after the game about the captains, how's the locker room and that kind of thing. Because as a head coach, you got to trust your leaders. I'm not sitting in the locker room 24/7 and listening to the conversations that they're talking about with the freshmen and that. So that's what the team is built. And obviously that went well this year, and you see it, and it appeared in the last 2 games. And there were certain times as the head coach you go, gee, I don't know which way is this going to go. And to their credit, it went the right way in the last 2.
Coach, one thing as I read the recap from last night here in the Chronicle Telegram, your son, Tyler, your guys' kicker, you guys, or you, I guess specifically, you trot him out there for a kind of surprise onside kick, right? And you guys get it. And you use that, you score off of it, if I'm not mistaken, right? And that's kind of, as you said in the paper here, it was a big play in the game for you guys. And that in and of itself, as you've talked about this whole like no quit mentality and things, that play right there kind of speaks a little bit to that in my mind, right? The fact that you can kind of, feel confident to do that within the course of a game, and not only just do it, but then you capitalize off it as well in a week 10 where it's your last football game for the season. Just kind of walk us maybe through that decision, that play, and kind of how cool maybe that was to see your son. I hope you guys be a big part of that win.
Yeah, getting goosebumps even thinking about it and you talking about it. Yeah, so we went out there. There was a penalty on that. We got a 15-yard penalty, so we were kicking off from like the 45 going in, and I set out there we were going to kick a regular kick. And then after I started seeing it, well, there's no kick the 10 yards. They get the ball. It's still going to be at the, the 35, 30, whatever. So
Right.
let's try it. So I call my son over to the kick. I said, come here. I said, go ahead, tell the guys we're gonna kick the surprise onside. Sure enough, he kicks the surprise onside, hits off their kid. We recover it and we go in to score. And that was a huge play in the game. That puts us up, instead of it being 14, we're kicking off to them. They get the ball. It's 14-6. Now it's 21-6, whole different ball game, going up those 2 scores. And it was big in the game. Obviously they never got to 21, and just having that 2-score lead's a heck of a lot better than having that 1-score lead, especially because of our situation all year. We haven't been in that situation too many times. So it was good. It was a big play. And I think the play of the game in my mind.
Well, and Coach, one thing I kind of half joke about with some of our coaches when we talk about plays like that, with the trick plays or the surprise onside kicks, whatever, it's, when you call people over, like your son in this instance, and then he goes and tells everybody, it's kind of one of those where you can't really be too giddy and excited when you run back out there onto the field, right? Otherwise, that kind of lets the other side know, okay, wait, why are they so excited to come out here? Because, the jig's kind of up at that point. They kind of have to have some it's a little dance, right, to going out there and kind of, it's another ho-hum kickoff, and then boom, you hit them with – did you guys do a good job of that, where they kind of just, another ho-hum kickoff, and then boom, you hit them with the surprise? How'd that go down?
Yeah, well, he's got my mentality a little bit, my son. So when he went back out on the field, I'm sure, it wasn't overjoyed, and he didn't know what was going on. He didn't give that away to everybody. So it's good that he took something from me, right?
Are you saying you're dry? Are you saying you're a good poker player? What are you saying?
Yeah, I wish I played poker. I'd have a lot more money, Ron. At least if I was good at it anyways. So
I want to ask you about your – go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
finish. I want to ask you about the seniors.
Okay.
That, you're saying goodbye to. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to talk, an opportunity for you to talk about some young men that, are wrapping up their Brookside football career.
Yeah, the first guys I got to talk about are the guys up front. Like Zaire Martin, Carter Schuster, and Michael Borman. They're 3 guys that started on both sides of the ball. And Carter, I think, was in all year. Michael missed a game, or Zai missed a couple games. But, I can't say enough to those guys, and they did a great job. It wasn't always positives either, but they continue to lead. They continue to fight. They continue, and continue to battle. And against some of the teams, sometimes in some of the lines that we put out there in different games, it wasn't always easy. Maybe there was 1 or 2 of them. So that's key. We have some other guys, some seniors who are in backup spots, Caleb, Bibb, Andy Bilso got hurt. He was a starter for us, corner, receiver, and all of them collectively, just continued to fight, 0-8 senior night. They're all there. Unfortunately, we went into a close game. 2 of the guys, I didn't get in, and I apologized to them after. Just one of those games where you wanted to do that and should have done that, but it just didn't work out because it was so tight. And, and they got in last night, which was a great thing. So they'll have that, when they tell their kids or whatever story that goes, they always get better as the years go on. They could tell them whatever they did or whatever they make up, to win that final game of their, their career. So it was just great that those guys got to go out that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, we know how tight-knit of a group you guys always are, year in and year out, right? That's that small school football. We talk about it all the time with a lot of you guys within that Lorain County League. We know it's a special bond, so I'm sure that's a special group of seniors that, hey, they see their career end on a win. So I'm sure they will certainly take that with the win over Wellington last night. So, Coach, thank you very much for joining us these past 2 weeks. Congratulations on ending your season on a nice 2-game win streak. I know you've been open about it. It was, tough. Like you said, those first 8 weeks, starting 0-8, it can go one way, but you guys didn't let it go that way. You rally, you get your 2 wins to end the season, and now you guys get ready for an off season ahead. So thank you again, Coach, for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the off season. I'm sure you guys will get after it, and we're looking forward to catching up with you more down the line.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate everything you do for Lorain County and for the kids in the high school sports. You do a great job, and appreciate everything that you do.
You got it, Coach.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Scott.
Appreciate
Good to see
it.
you.
Scott O'Donnell, head coach of the Brookside Cardinals. Again, 28-18 winners over Wellington last night. And he's right. I mean, you start 0-8. You're out of the playoff picture, obviously, at that point. And that usually, as he said, can quickly go to 0-10.
Huge testament to the senior leaders
sure.
on that team and that staff.
For sure.
Yeah.
And especially last night on the road, right, at Wellington. I'm sure that was their senior night,
Yeah.
right? So to be able to do that, yeah, just big ups to Scott O'Donnell and his Brookside Cardinals. So with that being said, let's step aside, take another time out. When we return, we'll talk some Midview Middies football with their head coach, Jack Armstrong. He's been waiting patiently. If you can buy us another minute or so for some sponsorship, thank yous. But excited to talk to him, man. Overtime winners over Amherst. They're in to the postseason as the 12 seed in their region. So we will talk to Coach Armstrong, head coach of the Midview Middies, after this timeout. It's Rocco Nucci, Ron Yance with you here this morning live from the Chronicle Telegram on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We'll be right back.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
Lorain County Community College is where you'll lock in your future success. LCCC will get you prepared, get you credentialed, and get you working. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
Fall is the season of change, and when things change in your life, be sure you have the best protection for what matters most to you. At the Cobos Insurance Agency, we're committed to helping you select the best insurance to accommodate the changing needs in your life. That's why Cobos recommends Ohio Mutual Insurance Group. Since 1901, Ohio Mutual has been keeping the promises that secure dreams. Find us online at CobosINS.com. We'd love to help evaluate your insurance needs and recommend the best coverage from the best companies like Ohio Mutual.
Rocco Nucci, Ron Yance here with you live from the Chronicle Telegram on this regular season finale edition of the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. As we said, though, we'll have one more episode for you guys next week before we take a brief intermission and let basketball season get into full swing, and then we'll be back for the winter edition here of the show. But it's been a fun year here on WEOL, fun season here on the Wrap-Up Show. We've had some really exciting weeks to talk about, including last night, and maybe with one of the more thrilling victories in the area, perhaps the most thrilling, depending on who you ask to, right? I know the folks at Clearview certainly have an argument to be made, but maybe they do in Grafton as well. Midview winners over Amherst last night on the road. It took overtime to do it, but I don't think Coach Armstrong minds, because that sees his Midview Middies heading to the OHSAA postseason. They are the 12 seed in their division. That's what, Division 3 and Region 10, Division 3, Region 10. Sorry, it took me a minute there, but his guys are in. Took overtime to do it. Coach Armstrong, first and foremost, good morning. We always appreciate the time. I'm sure you've got to just be elated this morning. You guys get the win, and now you're into the big postseason dance, and I'm sure that's all you can ask for sometimes. So just some thoughts from you this morning on all of that with the overtime win and now punching your ticket to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I want to start off with just saying it's all about the boys, and I couldn't be more proud of them. There's nothing like being a Midi, and the community here kind of came together, and it's just another piece of evidence that the program's going in the right direction. We have a great group of seniors, and my adrenaline's still rushing. I know theirs is too, and they're ready to go for week 11 already.
Walk us through this week of preparation, and I do want to talk about how the game went down, obviously an overtime thriller, right? But just that week, I got to imagine from, your point of view, your staff, your kids, there had to be some nerves, right? With kind of some big playoff implications for both sides heading into this game, right? Season on the line, potentially, right? We throw out those cliches all the time, but just talk to us about the week of preparation. I'm sure the nerves that came with it and the ability to kind of persevere through all of that and come out the other side victorious.
Yeah, we took it one day at a time, and I think that this is just another wonderful thing that as time goes on, it's year 3 with me being the head coach of the program. Every year, our week 10 practices have gotten better, and this was a great week of practice, if not our best week of practice. And the boys are hungry, and the boys want to put their staple on Midview football and leave their legacy. So when you have a senior-heavy team, it makes life a lot easier, especially when they're all really good kids, because they set the tone, and they're the leaders. They're the ones speaking, and I get to sit back and enjoy it and teach them how to do the right thing. And they went out there, and we knew that we had a good chance because we knew that we were a more physical football team than Amherst was. And that's what it came down to on Friday night. So it's a great feeling.
Jack, how did you win that football game last night? Was it pure physicality, or were there some other things involved? The positives, the keys to the victory for the Middies last night over a very good Amherst team. I did Amherst against Olmsted Falls, watched the Comets beat the Bulldogs, who, are one of the top teams in the Southwestern Conference in Olmsted Falls. So, you didn't just win a game last night. You beat a really good football team to do it. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I think that they came out really well and played really well on D. And as a staff, we made the adjustment. We said we're going to go old school, 1990 I football, and we just ran ISO right down their throat. And I think that that's just when I talked to the boys about rebuilding the brand at Midview. I told them when Midview's good, they're the more physical football team. They wanted it. They came to the coach's office to staff. They wanted to go I formation around ISO. And then at the end of the game, it was 4th and 1 on the goal line in overtime, and we could have kicked the field goal or we went to score. And I wouldn't do that to the boys to go for the field goal, because I know that if I was a player, I'd want to be believed in. So we went fullback dive and we got in there, and I couldn't beat, like, it was an amazing feeling, and I'm so happy for the boys.
Jack, Marcus McMahon had 30 carries last night, and you mentioned that you kind of changed the mentality early in that football game, said we're going to go old school, and it was interesting you said 1990s. It's not like that's that old, Jack, but anyways, you go to McMahon in the eye and you give it to him 30 times. Obviously, you trust that senior.
Absolutely. I couldn't be more proud of Marcus. I couldn't be more proud of this offensive line, our wide receivers, the senior class. Like I said, they definitely bleed blue, and they show, like, when you see them, you just see physical football. And with Marcus, he sets the tone. He's the one that gives the hit, never receives it. And he's a durable dude too, and he takes care of his body during the season. So he'll be fresh and ready to roll come Rocky River, if that's who our official opponent ends up being.
You hold Amherst to 7 points. If I could stay with the last night's game for one more question before we move on to Rocky River, that's a good offense. I mean, they've got Dudziak, they got Passarella, they've got Cy Christensen with over 7,000 yards passing. Obviously, most of them at Clearview. But anyways, why was the defense so dominant last night?
Well, we told them all week that we felt like we were going to be the more physical, and our box was better than their box, and we challenged our defensive backs to step up, and that's what happened. Our defensive backs didn't let people behind them. They rallied to the football. They fought through the ball when we thought they had a completion and caused an incompletion, and they flew. And the boys call themselves the Blue Swarm. They buy into that, and they definitely swarmed to the football last night. We caused turnovers. We won the turnover margin, and we physically dominated them. So I think the boys just did what they were supposed to do, and they know the expectations.
Well, Coach, you alluded to it already, right? Rocky River, likely the opponent on the other side. If that does end up being the case, let's just run with the hypothetical that is Rocky River for next Friday. I think, X's and O's matchups aside, I think in a sense that's maybe good that you guys aren't having to travel some sort of crazy distance, right? You're just heading on over to Cuyahoga County, western side of the county, to Rocky River in all likelihood. And I got to imagine there's maybe some new life to the guys this week. I mean, I'm sure they were excited to try to get the win, punch their ticket to the playoffs. They do all of that. They got at least one more week. Those seniors, like you said, a lot of seniors on your team, they got at least one more week of high school football to be played in their careers. Obviously, they're hoping for more than that. So just kind of walk us through what the mindset will be for this week as you get ready for, again, like we said, probably in all likelihood, Rocky River. We never know, things can change or whatever. But just talk us through, what kind of you expect from your guys heading into this week.
Yeah, I think with that win last night, I've told them all year that all we do is got to make the playoffs. We are definitely battle tested. We lost to a North Ridgeville team that's 9-1 in the final seconds. So the boys are really thriving with confidence right now, and they know that no matter the opponent, the SWC is the real deal. So they're battle tested, and they're ready, and they're excited, and they're ready to leave their stamp on Midview football and the legacy. And we haven't won a playoff game for quite a few years now. So that's their goal, is to kind of continue to put Midview back into what it used to be.
There you go. And if it is Rocky River, Coach, like we said, I mean, that's really not you. In all likelihood, would get a pretty solid turnout. I mean, Midi fans, they travel wherever, right? But especially if it's just kind of down the road at Rocky River, I would imagine that road sideline would be big and bolsterous. Like I said, I mean, it's never not, but even more so if that is the matchup. So I'm sure that's got to be at least somewhat exciting, right? The fact that you don't have to travel some crazy distance, and you can have a good chunk of the community there, right?
Absolutely. Nothing like being a middie. The support's amazing by everyone, and I'm super excited that it is close because it makes everyone's lives easier, and I am excited for the big turnout.
Awesome. Well, Coach, congratulations on the win last night. Congratulations on your guys getting in to the big dance. Like you said, that's all. It's all about that, right? You get in, and anything can happen. And I'm sure that's kind of the mission for your guys heading in to Week 11. So, thank you very much for the time this morning, Coach. Thank you very much for your time all season long here on the Wrap-Up Show. We know you guys get crazy busy once Friday night into Saturday morning gets underway. So, we appreciate you taking the time each week to join us. And best of luck this week as you get ready for your Week 1 postseason matchup.
Thank you. Go Middies.
There it is. Go Middies from head coach of the Middies, Jack Armstrong, kind enough to share some time with us here this morning. Man, I mean, big story for them too, right? I mean, you're a 2-game losing streak heading into Week 10, backs all the way against. I mean, you got to beat Amherst. At least I think that's how it was. You had to beat Amherst to get in, and it takes overtime to do it on the road. I mean, and they had heartbreakers. The North Ridgeville game was crazy. They gave up a 4th and 20 that ultimately kind of unseats them in that game. There were some different points, I think, this year from Midview where they could have, like we talked about with Coach O'Donnell and his Cardinals, let things go one way.
Yeah, they
didn't.
They started 3-0, and then they didn't win.
It fell apart a little bit. Yeah,
and they won only once over the next 5-6 weeks.
Right.
And to be able to do what they did to finish,
huge.
Yeah.
Massive. So almost forgot we had a little tidbit here because he was unable to join us this morning. He was my broadcast partner from last night, Michael Keefe. He had play-by-play for the Brunswick-Strongsville game on Stream 3 last night. Again, he's not able to join us, making a little road trip this morning. But what he did was record a little video for us last night, Ron, to shine some light on what the Medina County playoff picture might look like. Michael Keefe, of course, our kind of voice, quintessentially, of our Stream 3 Medina County matchups each and every week on WEOL.com. He recorded about a 10-minute video or so to kind of, recap the Brunswick-Strongsville game a little bit from last night that saw Strongsville get their first 8-win season since 2008. So he'll touch on that. But we have 3 undefeated postseason teams in Medina County: Highland, Wadsworth, and Buckeye, all cruising into the postseason with first-round buys. So we'll step aside to get a quick timeout. When we return, we'll hear from Michael Keefe as he breaks down the Medina County postseason picture. Rocco Nushiranyan's here with you live on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We'll be right back.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down, or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Lorain County Community College is where you'll lock in your future success. LCCC will get you prepared, get you credentialed, and get you working. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
This morning, I do love waking up on Saturdays and doing the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show with you. I love the banter. I love the laughs. I love Rocco asking me about my fall plans. And I would love nothing more than to be there with you live. Unfortunately, part of my fall plans, and don't worry, Rocco, I won't spoil it. I'll get to it at the end. But part of my fall plans involve being in the car for a couple hours right at the time we would be doing this. So I told Rocco that tonight. I just saw Rocco. It's midnight now. I just left him a couple hours ago in Brunswick. And he asked me if I would record this. And I said, heck yes, I will do that for you. And you got to play it at the 9:50 hour because that's my specific time spot. And I appreciate that. So, guys, without further ado, let's talk about Medina County football. We are done with 10 weeks. The regular season is over, and there's so many good things. The big news in Medina County is of the 7 teams that play high school football in Medina County, it looks like, and again, we're unofficial, totally unofficial right now, but according to what we're seeing right now, as of midnight tonight, it looks like 6 of the 7 teams are going to be playing playoff football. And that's awesome. I want to start by giving a shout out to the team that probably won't be playing playoff football, and that's the Black River Pirates. Kyle Clark, a great coach down there. Our buddy Rob Clerico, the athletic director. Those boys put together a pretty good season down there at Black River, but they needed help tonight. Specifically, they needed help from Columbiana, who went down to play a pretty good Lisbon team. And Columbiana crushed Lisbon tonight. And so I think that's going to pretty much do it for Black River. I think they're going to be the team that doesn't make it, but still a good season for Kyle Clark and his bunch there with the Pirates. Moving on, and we'll talk about what happened this week, but also what it means moving forward. Here's the big news of the week. Assuming this holds, as of right now, as of midnight, the biggest news of the week revolves around the Buckeye Bucks. The Buckeye Bucks won tonight against Lakewood. No surprise. 10-0. They won the Cleveland West Conference, and they are the 1 seed in Division III, Region 10. Coming into this week, though, the 1 seed gets a bye, but then they play the winner of the 8 and 9. Coming into this week, Toledo Central Catholic was the 8 seed. They got a win tonight, and it was a big enough win to propel them to what should be the 6 seed, which means not only does Buckeye avoid Toledo Central Catholic in the second round in week 12, but they move to the other side of the bracket, which means if Buckeye can win a couple games, they will not see Toledo Central Catholic until the regional final. That is humongous news. Now, listen, you don't run away from competition. Greg Dennison, certainly, if you interviewed him, he wouldn't say, oh, we're trying to avoid Toledo Central Catholic. But that is a Fighting Irish team out there that is one of the best teams in the state. Do not let their record fool you. And to get them on the other side of the bracket from Buckeye, huge news. So Buckeye gets the win, 10-0. Shout out to the Buckeye Bucks for a perfect season. And if that holds true, it looks like Buckeye will take on the winner of Copley, who's had a good year. Copley versus St. Mary's Memorial, the Rough Riders. They're also a good team. 2 good teams there. But again, getting Toledo Central Catholic out of that side of the bracket makes things a little bit more clear for the Buckeye Bucks. Move on to Division II, Region 6. Wadsworth, Highland. Again, this is the division with our Lorain County teams, Avon and North Ridgeville and Olmsted Falls. It looks like unofficially, and I think this is how it is going to wrap up, I think Wadsworth is going to be the 1 seed in that region, and that is a humongous advantage because if you want to get out of that region, you're going to have to go through 2 of those 3 teams, and Wadsworth is the team that's going to have to go through just 1. And that is a major advantage. Looks like Highland will be the 2 seed. Wadsworth beat Solon by about $1 million tonight. Highland beat Cuyahoga Falls by about $1 million tonight. And it looks like, and Avon beat Elyria by about $1 million tonight. So it looks like it'll be 1 seed Wadsworth, 2 seed Highland, 3 seed Avon. And all that means is if you're Mike Gibbons and the Highland Hornets, what a season you've had, 10-0, and pretty much untouchable all season. You're going to go through your first part of that bracket, but if you want to get through it, you're going to have to beat, probably, assuming no upsets happen, you're going to have to beat both Avon and Wadsworth, and that is a tall, tall task. So major advantage for the Grizzlies, who, again, in their first game will likely face the winner of Brecksville Broadview Heights versus Oregon Clay. That's kind of how things shake out for the Grizzlies. On the other side of things, Highland, the Hornets, 10-0. They beat Cuyahoga Falls, and they will face the winner of St. Francis de Sales and Valley Forge, who beat Normandy tonight. St. Francis de Sales, a really good football team. So Highland might have a lot of big-time tests if they want to get to their ultimate goal. Again, St. Francis de Sales versus Valley Forge, the winner of that game, then probably Avon, and then probably Wadsworth. So there's a lot of talent standing in the way of the Highland Hornets if they want to get to their ultimate goal. Elsewhere in Medina County, let's go to Division I, Region 1. Let's talk about the game we were on tonight. The Brunswick Blue Devils fall to the Strongsville Mustangs. Let's talk about the game for a minute, and I'm sure Rocco will expand upon this, but Brunswick, one big play here, one big play there, but a lot of negative plays between those big plays, and they got absolutely out-muscled by the Strongsville Mustangs. The offensive line manhandled the defense. The defensive line and the linebackers, led by future Texas A&M Aggie Storm Miller, dominated the trenches of this game, and Strongsville eventually runs away 24-7 in this game. And all that means is Strongsville is going to be hosting a game at Pat Catan Stadium. Brunswick in the playoffs, but They're going to be on the road. Brunswick is going to head to Massillon Jackson. They'll take on the Polar Bears in their Week 11 game. Here's the other big news in the county, though. After a hugely disappointing, pretty terrible year, the Medina Battling Bees are going to be in the playoffs. So they got one more game at least. It's going to be a tough one. Medina's going to have to load up the bus, and they're going to have to drive out to Perrysburg. But Medina, with a win tonight against Lorraine, against the Titans, Medina is going to punch their tickets again unofficially to the postseason. And Coach Larry Laird and his bunch are going to head out to Perrysburg to take on a really good Perrysburg football team. So they're going to have to bring their, I don't know if it's their A game, their A plus game, their A plus game, but Medina, it looks like unofficially is going to grab that 12 seed in the postseason. And hey, you get in, you got a shot. And they're going to have to go out and prove it against Perrysburg. So congrats to the Bees for making the postseason, for beating Lorraine tonight, and for doing just enough to get in. They were helped, big time help. St. Ignatius loses against that Clarkson Football North team out of Ontario, Canada. Who else loses? Normandy loses. That's not a surprise. But Solon loses. That was another team that had an advantage in the standings over Medina, but Solon lost to Wadsworth. So pretty much everybody Medina needed to lose tonight did lose, and so Medina is going to have a Week 11 game, or so it looks. Lastly, in the playoffs, it is Cloverleaf. They lost to Streetsboro. They hung tough early, but in the end, they couldn't hang out and compete with Streetsboro. So they will be on the road, the Cloverleaf Colts, and they're going to face any combination of, they'll be on the road either out at Perkins, they'll be on the road at Bay, which would be a rematch from Week 11 last year, or they'll be on the road at Clear Fork. It's just going to depend on how that all falls out. So, guys, 6 of 7 teams are going to make it in the postseason, and you've got quite a few teams that will be expecting to make a run, and then you just never know what happens. That Brunswick Massillon Jackson game could be really interesting. Who knows? Medina goes out and surprises somebody, and they get that offense going against Perrysburg. They could be a test. Who knows about Cloverleaf? I think Cloverleaf was much stronger this year than we've seen them the past couple of years. And so maybe they could threaten a team like Perkins or Bay, especially Perkins kind of having a more of a down year than what they're used to, at least. But when it all comes down to it, Buckeye 10-0, Highland 10-0, Wadsworth 10-0. We are setting up for some spectacular football runs in the postseason in Medina County. And when you start Week 1, it's all you can ask for. So it's kind of like part 1 of the season is over, and now it's just time to get into part 2. And we cannot wait to bring it to you on the Medina County matchup. I won't be on the game on Friday, Halloween. That's really bad timing. Who does games on Halloween? But I got kids, and I got to prioritize Halloween. We got to do trick-or-treating because Daddy likes to eat that candy too. And so I'll be out trick-or-treating with the kids. But starting Week 12, there's going to be big matchups on this schedule, and we're going to have them all coming at you. Rocco, again, don't think I forgot about you, man. Fall plans this weekend. I think we're gonna go down to Columbus. We got to go to IKEA, everybody's favorite place. We're going to spend a little time in Columbus, maybe go to a little brewery distillery situation down there tomorrow. And then the rest of the fall plans, Sunday, I think we might head out to Catawba, to some of our favorite places out there for a nice dinner. I'll give a special shout out. My sister and my mom, it's their birthday week. They're both born 6 days apart, many years apart, but 6 days apart on the calendar. And so we're going to celebrate their birthdays. And that's the fall plans here. So Rocco, buddy, it was a great time tonight doing the game with you in Brunswick. We usually get one game every year. I'd be cool with more than that. I don't know if you would, but I'd be cool with more than that. But anyways, guys, thank you for letting me take the time to do this with you this morning. Hope you have a great rest of the wrap-up show, and cannot wait for Medina County playoff football. There's some big things going to be happening, and we're bringing it all to you. You guys enjoy the rest of the wrap-up show. Thank you for letting me join you, and I'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford this month, you choose. Right now, get the Escape, Mach-E, Mustang, or Bronco Sport for only $399 a month with 0 down. Or the Bronco, Explorer, or F-150 for just $499 a month. At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
All right, so big thanks to Michael Keefe, voice of the Medina County matchup. Of course,
He's wound up.
He is. He always is, man. He always
Too early
is.
to be that wound up.
Well, that was he sent that over last night, I guess, in full disclosure. So he admitted to me as much that he's usually pretty wired after his Stream 3 play-by-play action, and he very much was. So it was great doing that game with him last night. Strongsville knocking off Brunswick. Again, I did want to congratulate Jason Trusnick because he was very welcoming to us when we talked to him on the field last night. He got his Mustangs an 8-win season for the first time since 2008. So big shout out to Coach Trusnick, former NFL player Jason Trusnick, and current head coach over at Strongsville. All right, Ron. So I know we're at 11 usually when we wrap things up. We can go over. It's the beauty of being here, all digital, all online now. Let's just quickly kind of look at our playoff matchups ahead of us. And again, I think I omitted Cloverleaf as far as a local school goes. I did write them down here.
They'll be at Bay.
Yes, Division 4, Region 14. They'll be at Bay. So I'll just start here. Division 1, Region 1. Right, Medina at Perrysburg. You heard Michael talk about it a little bit there. Tough year, kind of just tough sledding right now for Coach Larry Laird and his Medina Bees. But Medina is in on the road at Perrysburg. Real tough matchup for them, but we'll see how that shakes out. Strongsville at home, hosting John Marshall, and then Brunswick on the road at Jackson. I think that could certainly be an interesting Division 1, Region 1 playoff matchup there. Division 2, Region 6. Feels like we got to wait a week before that region really starts to heat up, right? Avon, North Ridgeville, they're the 3 and the 4. Highland and Wadsworth, they're the 1 and the 2. So all 4 teams in that region that get the bye are of local interest to us, whether it's Lorain or Medina County. So that'll be interesting. Fremont Ross is at Olmsted Falls. That is the one, week 11 matchup we do have in that region. So we'll look forward to that. In Division 3, Region 10, Buckeye, also in that, undefeated Medina County team region. They get the bye as the 1 seed. And then Midview will be at Rocky River. Could be of interest to us here at WEOL. Well, it is of interest, but whether or not we are able to do the game, we'll have to make that determination here sooner rather than later. But Midview at Rocky River, Division 3, Region 10. That should be fun. Division 4, Region 14, the Clearview Clippers, who you just saw last night, man, riding a 4-game winning streak, riding high with some momentum right now into the state playoff picture. They're at Sandusky Perkins. Vermilion, they just miss out as the 13 seed in Division 4, Region 14. And as Ron said, Cloverleaf will be at Bay. Division 5, Region 18, no Keystone Wildcats. They just miss out as the 13 seed. So I know a disappointing end there for head coach Don Griswold and his Cats, but I'm sure they'll use that as plenty of fuel in the off season as they get ready for 2026. I know they'll have a pretty darn good boys and girls basketball team this winter as well. Division 6, Region 21, Columbia gets the bye as the 2 seed. Cuyahoga Heights is at Smithville. Shout out Tommy Evans on that front.
Shout out Tom Evans, who's on the treadmill right now watching us, and he's going to get some lifting in after that.
Strides. Little curl, little iron. There you go. Big shout out Tommy Evans. And Black River, man, you feel for Kyle Clark and his Pirates. Really great year for them, but will fall short as they miss out in the Division 6 Region 21 playoff picture. They are the 13 seed there. So heartbreak this morning for 3 of our schools in the 13 seed, Vermilion, Keystone, Black River, all respective 13 seeds in their region. So Ron, I think, again, like you said, not to discredit teams that are playing in week 11, not to discredit any of the matchups that do happen in week 11, but it is worth saying, I think week 12 is when things will really start to spicing up in our kind of local playoff picture. But still, I think some really good matchups here on the docket for next Friday.
Yep, looking forward to next Friday, wherever you and Jared decide to send me. Can I share a secret with you before we sign off?
Well, I can't say no.
So Tom Evans is training to rejoin the Ohio State rugby team.
No.
Yes, he was a rugby guy a long time ago, has stayed with the program, and that's why he's on the treadmill right now.
No way. I don't believe that for a second. You kidding me? I don't think so. Maybe do some coaching, but I guess it would be worth saying I'm not standing in the way of Tommy Evans. If he's barreling down at me and he's got a nice 15 to 20 yard head start, I'm not bringing Tommy down. I'm not going to do it. It's just not going to happen. Similar to who had our funny 3-1 odds? Coach Elder with the hamstring issue potentially with kickball. That would be me with tackling Tom, but whatever. We'll leave that alone. All right, Ron, as always, my friend, honor doing the show with you here on a Saturday morning in these lovely Chronicle Telegram studios. You missed your coffee, but you were still jovial as ever. So there you go. Yeah. Before I let you go, we'll thank our sponsors. They are Nick Abraham, Elyria Ford, Lorain County Community College, Stewart's TV and Appliance, EcoTree Services, and Cobos Insurance Center, your Ohio Mutual Insurance Group agent. Of course, big thanks to all of our coaches who joined us this morning, make this show possible, and a big thanks to you, the viewer and listener, as well. So for the coaches, for the sponsors, for Ron Yance, I am Rocco Nushi saying thank you for watching another episode of the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show. We'll do it one more time for the fall football season next Saturday morning here at the Chronicle. But until then, make sure you stay tuned to the WEOL social medias and the Chronicle Telegram. We'll let you know where we're at next Friday with our broadcast. But until then, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you guys next week.